Hello, my name is Michelle Dorrell. Some of you may recognise me as the woman who berated Amber Rudd MP on Question Time in October 2015. I made an impassioned rant at the Conservative Party for frustrations with some of their policy making, especially when they were policies that weren't, in my estimation, fully explained to the general public before the election in May. Well, lots of things have happened since that eventful evening, and so this is the beginning of my journey. I am going to be investigating and learning directly about MPs from MPs themselves. I'm going to be taking a little journey through all of the political parties. I'm going to be meeting one Conservative MP Tuesday, the 12th of January of this year, and it's going to be my first step. From this meeting, I'm hoping to get a full understanding of the person behind the party and their reasons for why they support that political party in particular. And I want to find out from them directly what they think the policies are that their party may be implementing, maybe wanting to implement or have implemented, and what they themselves think would be the impact upon the people of this country, who are really their bosses. I think a lot of MPs these days have sort of lost touch with the real reason of why they are in the position of power they are. MPs may have lost sight of the fact that they are elected by the people to represent for the people. And I don't think at the moment some of our MPs, especially those that are in power, maybe the Conservative Party directly, their Tory policies, should we say, they've sort of forgotten that they need to represent us. And myself personally, I don't believe they are. And I think there's large swathes of people across the country from all different backgrounds who also might have the same sort of feelings as me. A lot of MPs these days have sort of forgotten one major factor of 2016. They can't hide what is happening in politics, in business, in economics, in the infrastructure of this country. They can't hide what's happening outside of the country and how it impacts upon us socially, economically, and in security-wise, in everything. We can see it ourselves now. They can't hide behind rhetoric and spin anymore. We have the internet, we have social media, we have live streaming of what's happening elsewhere in the world. We can see it from the moment it's happening. With the internet today and everything that we have at our disposal, this once large world has gone from being very big to now very, very, very small. And some of us, it's very frustrating. Some of us, it's very worrying, especially as we're all facing serious challenges in our own home lives, daily tasks, whether it be working tasks, whether it be home tasks, whether it be family tasks. It's a lot. It's a lot for anyone to take on. Everyone's different. Everyone has different responsibilities. And one of the biggest things that I think might be the problem this country has is that far too many people are disengaged with the politics of our country and our country today, because there's so many people that don't understand it. They don't understand it because those that represent them or are meant to represent them don't say it in ways that everyone can understand. They say it with confusing words. They spin the truth. They muddle and confuse. And that's why so many people don't understand. They don't get it. That's why they don't vote. That's why they're not interested. That's why they don't care. because they just genuinely feel that there's nothing anyone's talking about which they can relate to that would impact upon them. Or if it does impact upon them, it impacts upon them in the harshest of ways, the cruelest of ways, the most unkind and unfair and unjust ways. You have large members of society now in the lower working classes, or the lower classes as you would originally call them. You have the disabled who are being sanctioned left, right and centre, who are having to struggle through, disability questions and with the PIP or whoever it is that's running it now, where they have to go and they have to prove that they're disabled and whether their disability would allow them to work or not work, and if they're found to be able to work by these panels, by these people, they're then forced into work no matter what it does to them. And if they don't, the sanctions that they face, that's just one part. But then there's been the human cost and tragedy to that. I mean, there's been reports of thousands of deaths because they've been forced into work. And that's just the disabled. And you've got to think about the impact upon the bedroom tax and what that's done to people. Not everyone has the luxury or the ability to be able to move. And all you're doing is you're putting further debt upon these people, and you're putting further and further distress upon these people that they're already facing tough times. And you're making it worse. The austerity measures, they're confounding. I mean, I got called after the Question Time incident a turkey voting for Christmas because I was, as some people put it, stupid enough to be an all right Jack person. Don't care about anyone else, I only care about myself. People judged me on a 30-second clip. They don't know anything about me. They don't know what I've gone through to get here where I am today, the struggles of which I've faced. I mean, sure, it's probably nothing in comparison to probably many, many millions of other people around this world, or even those in this country. But I've been through my fair share of problems and issues. I mean, over the next few weeks, few months, you might find out more about all of this. I might go further into it. But for now, this is the beginning of my journey into politics. Me, just a normal, everyday mum who runs a little business because that's all I could do to get me back to work, to get me back on that ladder, to hopefully get my financial stability back and away from any form of state benefits. For the first 14 years of my working life, I didn't depend upon state benefits. Sure, back in the days of Tony Blair when they introduced the tax credit system, I received a small nominal amount from them. It was such a nominal amount, it was nothing more than just a luxury money for maybe a takeaway once a week or something like that. It was nothing substantial. But that was back in the days when it worked properly, because it did just top up that little bit. Because back then, the wages in 2002, 2003 weren't right for the living costs of which we had back then. The wages were still going up. Obviously, this was before the financial crash. We all know this. But we also all know we're not being told everything about why the financial crash happened. We also know these days that it's not being investigated and sorted so that wouldn't necessarily happen again. We saw not long ago the FCA saying that they wouldn't do the regulation checks and investigation that they were originally meant to. Let's wait and see. I'm sure there's lots more to come on this one. But like I say, this is just the beginning of my journey. And this is just my first video.